Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am excited today because we just had the ending of the Bad Batch, and we have a new trailer that dropped. So it's just an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan. I want to talk with some of my favorite Star Wars fans about what to expect in the future, and we're gonna jump into that right now on the high ground. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the high ground.
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
No, I'm excited to jump into it. I believe this is Cal's first time on the high ground, right? No,
I've been on
no,
it
no,
a
no, no.
couple
You've been
times.
oh, okay. So I get mixed up between Dyad and high ground sometimes, and it's Luke's first time, and we have Gray returning, but
They're practically the same show
yeah,
at this point.
it's they're both fun shows. Now that I've introduced everyone, let's go around so everyone can introduce themselves. No, I'll start out by asking you, who are you? Where can we find you? And then, what genre of Star Wars are we currently missing? What type of show needs to, or movie, or book, or comic, or whatever game needs to be added? And I'll go to Cal first.
Hello, I'm Cal4. I'm Cal4 on pretty much everything: TikTok, Instagram, soon to be Twitch, stuff like that. As far as what genre I feel like is missing, honestly, and this is coming from somebody who's not really a fan of this genre for the most part, but horror, honestly. Like, I can't think of anything Star Wars that's horror, really. So it'd be cool to see, like, a game, or a movie, or probably not a show, because I think that would go on a little too long, and it'd be hard to keep the horror element that long. But I think it could make a good movie or game, because there's a lot you could do in space with creepy space monsters, or just like the Nihil.
Yeah. Oh man. No, like your ship breaks down, but like the Nile break down in the same area, and it's just
Right.
like, hey, just don't die.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I'd
I'm
watch
thinking
that.
about. I'm thinking about like with the Dringer. You know how you had Alien, that Alien game,
Alien Isolation.
Isolation.
just in a broken down cruiser with
Oh,
the
yeah.
Dringer. Just. I'm sorry if that
Space
triggered
is
anybody.
scary.
No, it just made me hungry for macaroni. How about you, Gray?
I don't know about a specific genre, but I was and you can find me on TikTok, Donna the Gray, and I visit with people on YouTube quite often. Is I wanted to see like a good version of the Dren gear, because plants are amazing, and there's wonderful like plants that are so beneficial, and then there's plants that if you touch them you could just die. So like Dren gear, like throwing flowers everywhere, and I don't know. I just thought that would seem kind of fun.
That'd be interesting. I didn't even think about that. And that, who knows if that's a place that we're headed to, that they find the light side variant or a way to purge them of that to where they can like seed whole planets and stuff like that.
And like the
Or
difference of their species. Like obviously they're smart. What do they have cities, or do just are they all evil? I would like to know more about them.
Star Wars: The Wild Harvest by Les Stroud.
Yeah, I'm into it. How about you, Luke?
Hi guys. Thanks for having me on, Chaco. You can find me on TikTok at the Padawans Podcast, and also on YouTube. You can check out the podcast on YouTube and on wherever you get your podcast, the logo, wherever you know how they always say it. What genre? See, it's hard for me because obviously the High Republic stuff is really killing it right now, and I really love that stuff. But I would love to see like a true crime, like we have to go find kind of like what they're doing with the Nihil, but like I want to see like more bounty hunters and like the policing of like the Republic or whatever. I think that would be interesting.
I love that idea.
Full
Do you know
Star Wars
about
lore.
DJO's newest comic that he's writing called Trail of Shadows?
Oh yeah, that's
So
you're
noir.
already doing it then. So then I'm getting what I want. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Awesome. Well, before we get Pep's thoughts, we'll say hello to the chat real quick. Julia Christine says Jedi romance novels. Which,
I like
Yes.
that too.
I was
She's not
actually going to
wrong.
say like that in general, but I thought somebody else would pull it in, so I was just like, well, I'll go the other.
I
the
love
route I was
that
thinking.
idea.
You've got your classic Romeo and Juliet, yeah. With that,
Mm-hmm.
you'd have maybe you can have like a Jedi, like two Jedi from different, or not even two Jedi, a Jedi and then a Darksider, and that's Romeo and Juliet.
Or like
Interesting.
Wreath
Because
and Man.
Lost Stars was kind of a romance, and it was an amazing fun.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Dark Disciple as well.
Of course. Oh, that one's great.
We got Almighty Dobbin here saying General Grievous show. He is a
Ooh.
character I do want. I do want to watch the origins of, this amazing warrior who's not able to keep up with the Jedi just because of this superpower that they're born with, and is starting to augment himself to try and, catch that gap. Let's see, Meme Man wants horror as well. Star Wars lawyer, unsurprisingly, says we need a Star Wars legal drama.
Dun, dun. Yeah, exactly, Evelyn.
So I mean, it makes me think straight up of straight to like Star Wars West Wing, but yeah, I mean it could be Star Wars suits or
Oh wow, yeah.
or
Bail Organa,
Franklin
he
and
says.
Bash.
Star Wars Criminal Minds.
Star Wars Criminal, I like that. Me-Man says maybe a Rancor horror game, like a much older, worn down Jabba's palace set after the sequels. Yeah, trapped in a palace with a Rancor. Yeah, let's get a noir whodunit, which is what DJ is working on.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that always brings in kind of like not necessarily a plot hole, but something that I always think is really funny in the Star Wars universe is that there's like no cameras anywhere apparently, and that
Yeah.
like people can just sneak on a Star Destroyer and run through the halls no problem. So I feel
I've
like if
always
there was
wondered
like a
that.
Star Wars crime division, it'd be really hard.
Yeah, it would
Well,
be.
Well, that's actually not true, right? Because in Revenge of the Sith, we see that they have hollow footage of what happened in
True.
the temple. So we don't actually like it's so inconsistent in the movies. Like, Obi-Wan sneaking through, Rey sneaking through. Everyone's just
Yeah.
running through the hallways of a Star Destroyer, and no one sees
Yeah.
them.
And then
But then
like-
they have hollow footage of things.
Yeah,
So I
and
don't
in The
know.
Mandalorian, I think they do too on that like prison station, and I think
Mhm.
in
Yeah,
Force Awakens
in
even
the final episode too.
on that cargo ship that Han has. Same thing. They have cameras there, but it's the only times that they ever come in handy. Apparently, nobody else is watching them.
Grogu is looking at Luke through an old black and white tube TV,
Yeah.
which is also kind of weird. But yeah.
What happened to all the hologram stuff? Come on, like we're supposed to be futuristic,
Exactly.
right?
Danny Kara says, I'd love a Shane Black type neo noir story. That would be really cool. Let's see here. A Game of Thrones esque show, which I think is very suited to like the old Republic.
Oh yes.
I would love that show centered around the families in Alderaan.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would like that because there's a lot of like politics and combativeness between the houses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get a lot of that in Sator.
Mhm.
Just the quest line.
Interesting. Brian with the beard says, can scan other ships for life forms, yet can't detect when an intruder is running through your ship. It just makes me in Rise of Skywalker when they're just charging, just shooting people like around all the corners and stuff. That scene always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And Julia, of course, says Game of Mandalore.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking. I didn't know there was a lot of contention on Alderaan.
Neither did I.
Oh, it's a bunch of political houses that run back centuries and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Yeah, lots of intrigue and like people marrying and like yeah. Um, but yeah, what would you like to see, Element?
Well, before yesterday, or before really a couple months ago, I would have said anime, but we're getting a whole bunch of that, and we're probably going to continue to get a whole bunch of that. And I'm hoping, at least with the proliferation of visions and like the popularity, hopefully that it brings to Star Wars and anime, is that it'll cause them to make canon material with like an anime studio that is not necessarily visions, but like they'll tap Mappa hopefully to do a sequel era show that is 2D animated, that is canon and consequential to the whole timeline. But what I really want to see is a coming of age story that follows initiates all the way through becoming knights. And we don't have a lot of this. We don't have any of this actually. It's basically a Harry Potter of the Jedi Temple. You would have a couple of like friends and initiates who are like the people from the Gathering episodes, and we would go through their life in the creche, and then go through their lessons. But there would be this antagonistic force, like he who shall not be named, and causing them to kind of go on adventures and kind of challenge themselves as young initiates, and then as Padawans, going through like all 7, 8 movies of Harry Potter. Like it would span a saga of movies where they grow up, but you're following them from like their first initiation into the order. And we don't have any of that. Like when Anakin's initiated, the next movie, he's all grown up. So we need to follow people and their experience in the creation, just life in the Jedi Order, and then have like a couple of people, like maybe two or three of them be the center of focus.
No, I like that. I like that a lot because yeah, like you said, we don't see it. But I would also love it if I don't know, like I because I am a fan of the time jumps, and I'm thinking like Young Justice, where there was that time jump. And yeah, we have to kind of place what happened in between, but like the story is just like moving and moving.
I would just like Dob says, Harry Potter but Star Wars. It really is kind of succinctly put that. I want to follow initiates in their lessons. I want them to go to classes. I want them to like start learning how to be a Jedi. But in the middle of it all, you throw this wrench in the whole story with a Voldemort character or with an antagonist that causes trouble for the temple, and it's up to them to solve this problem, not the masters. What have we gotten throughout all of Star Wars is like the Jedi Masters and the Knights, and then we got a couple episodes in the Gathering and stuff with the Padawans. But
I think
What
what's
do you
really cool
think-
about that. Oops, sorry, you can go ahead.
No, on that point, Element, what would you think of a anime based in the High Republic?
absolutely,
I mean,
I think-
150%
now.
down.
Gimme.
I think that would be like, I mean, it's all going to depend on how people like Visions, and the thing is with Visions, for me, it's like I've watched anime before, so I get the kind of concept, but the fact that it's not canon kind of makes me a lot easier to get into it, because
Oh, yeah.
it just is like with canon, especially with Star Wars, it seems like it's, if you mess something up, it just all goes to heck, and it's just like you can't please everybody. But I mean, anime might be the perfect way to tell Star Wars stories, because it's wacky, everything's weird, and I mean, it's a great medium, and I'm really looking forward to it. I just think the High Republic would be such a great era to put out visual content, because the novels and the young reader stuff and the comics are really just nailing it. So
Yeah.
that's what I would love to see.
I agree with you with the High Republic thing. I think it's the perfect time period for this type of show or movie or what have you for this exploration. Simply because like just fundamentally we have the groundwork for it. We have the outpost temples, and then we have the frontier stuff, and this story could theoretically follow an initiate that comes from the outpost, and it's like their assignment to to Coruscant, and then there's this huge world that opens up to them, and then we get the Harry Potter classes dealing with issues and dealing with growing up, dealing with having a crush and training to be a Jedi, and you're like, wait, no, this can't be a thing, and
Nope.
stuff like that. So you will have your Jedi romance as well.
There you go.
In between.
And when you said anime in the High Republic, first thing it made me think of is if we can get Talbota. If we could, so they could do a thing if they wanted to get weird with it, where they give us Star Wars legends, but actually legends. Like these are the legends that exist within the Star Wars universe, so they could tell these interesting stories that are not going to be canon, or they are canon within the universe as stories.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be a lot. Yeah, I think that's easier. Not easier, but it'd be for the viewer. I guess it would be a lot easier to explain.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I agree with that.
In that case, we would get like a movie that is a movie that people would watch in the universe, like Talbota and the Fist of Fury or something like that, and then it would be so self-aware, so rambunctious that like he kicks down the door, ignites his lightsaber, goes dan 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 Talbota, stuff like that.
Yeah. And so, and for anyone in the audience that might not know Talbota, it was recently introduced in the High Republic Adventures as kind of this legendary Jedi that these children that are Padawans look up to, this legend of like, oh, this fearless person is doing all this stuff. And then as their stories progress, they're learning these lessons about what they thought they wanted to be versus, reality. And yeah, I think that could absolutely be something you play with. Jack Bodie says, give me the story of Luke and Lando looking for the Wayfinder, and it flashes back and forth between that and Rey's father escaping Exegol. That'd be really cool.
Wow.
Mara Jade and Gray Fade are saying Hondo show. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Brooks, Adam Driver is a young Snape, a space Snape.
I would love young Adam. I would love young Ben Solo stuff. I think that would be great.
Give me the lightsaber. It belongs to me.
I have not seen any of the Harry Potters or read any of them, so
I have not either. I haven't either.
This is an
I'm not
interesting
alone.
dynamic.
No, you're
Yeah.
not alone.
I mean, I've seen the big three: Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. I've seen all three of them, but
Yeah.
Harry Potter's my least favorite out of the
I'm
three.
a huge Lord of the Rings fan and Hobbit and all that.
There you go.
No, I still need to watch The Hobbit. But yes,
I
have
I've
seen.
never watched anime, and when the preview for the new Visions came out, I was absolutely floored. Coming from someone who doesn't have any interest in anime, I think it looks absolutely amazing. I couldn't be more excited. I just wish it was canon. I don't quite understand why it can't be canon, but
Well, the producers were saying, at least when they were talking about the canonicity of it, that they wanted to give them free reign creatively to tell the stories they wanted to tell. And so in that sense, they actually did start out talking about how they could be canon, but then they said it would be prohibitive to the artists.
So, and it's pretty cool though, considering that Star Wars is inspired of Japanese culture, and then it has inspired these Japanese creators, and so they're trying to show what Star Wars means to them, but it's as artistic as they want it to be. So yeah, But I'm okay with, because we have scenes where, like, dude's riding on top of his X-wing and stuff, and like, I,
No, it looks great. I couldn't be more excited.
yeah. I mean, speaking of which, and I'll have you kind of keep going with that, but I, I want your, I guess, overall thoughts on the state of Star Wars media, having the Bad Batch just wrapped, and then we got this commercial for Visions that's coming up. So we have a new past and present on those two projects. Like, how are you feeling? Are you excited for the future and all
I
that good stuff?
I couldn't be more excited. I think the time right now is if you are a Star Wars fan, if you're open-minded, if you're not a closed-minded Star Wars fan, if you're an open-minded Star Wars fan who wants to see new, interesting, different stuff and not same old, same old, same old, same old, same old, same old, I think you're just in for such a ride. Visions is going to be amazing. Even everybody's least favorite Andor, I think, is going to be amazing. And next season it'll be the K2SO show, basically. You got Ahsoka coming. The Bad Batch's animation is utterly amazing. The Clone Wars animation is my favorite animation ever, hands down. That is what I care about. And it only got a million times better. I couldn't have been happier with that show. I thought I was happy with every single episode. I didn't think any of it was lulled in any way. I am very pro everything on this. I absolutely love it. I couldn't be more excited. Yeah.
It's
Awesome.
a
I love it.
it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what are your thoughts, Luke,
I
between the
can't.
two shows?
It's kind of like gray. Absolutely. Like my thing is that I'm going to consume everything Star Wars, whether I like it or not. Like I will consume it because that's what I do.
Me too.
So, I mean, we've got Kenobi, we've got Visions, we got the Acolyte, which with High Republic wave. Well, by that point, won't they be into phase two or three, right?
Uh, I mean, we don't know exactly when that's coming out, but at least for now, I kind of want to stick with Bad Batch and Visions. We're gonna jump into the
Okay.
other projects
No, yeah.
after this.
So Bad Batch was great. Um, a lot of the theories of bringing other stuff in, which is interesting. I really like the dynamic of the Bad Batch. The finale, I'm gonna be in the minority and say that it was good because we didn't really know what was coming if season 2 was coming until the week before the finale dropped.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get everybody's pessimism about the finale, but I enjoyed it. I think it was great. Um, really excited for Visions. I mean, it like Element and Gray said, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. It just
Awesome.
is. It's gonna be great.
I love it. We got DePaul dropping some love. Always appreciate DePaul. And always love checking out Conspiracy Cantina. Sadly, I wasn't able to get there last night, but
It's a good episode.
I was able to watch half of it.
Man, such a good community. We're gonna talk about community later. It's as well, but there's some cool stuff going on. Neepy says, "I think I'm the only person really excited for Andor. You are
No,
I'm
not
excited.
alone."
I'm very
Mm-mm.
excited,
No,
I'm
you are
super
not
hyped.
alone.
like very hyped.
Yeah.
Also, Stardust M. I don't know if you follow Stardust M on TikTok. If not, please do. I'm going to be talking to her a lot once we get there. Shout out to X Wing as well. Says stoked out of my mind for Andor. Got a shout out to the Stardust community. Love it. Um, appreciate it. Always appreciate it. And I always appreciate Andor love. Um, Jack Brutus says, I hope Taika's movie is a Dawn of the Jedi adaptation. Be
That's what I'm
interesting if you're
So
if we're going to go
that
ahead.
would be great. I want to know about the Prime Jedi and when they first became Jedi. So I agree.
Yeah. There's so much like available time and stuff. So who knows? I mean, I'm curious if we might be seeing something similar to that in the Ninth Jedi. as in it's really early on, maybe not the first, but that is supposed to be very, very early in the timeline. But yeah, there's such a good time. What are your thoughts, Pep?
I mean, Star Wars is the biggest it's ever been. You know, we just got done with the Bad Batch, and it's got a second season. You know, I didn't think it would have a second season, but just narratively speaking, I think it's very prohibitive for them right now. But if they can make it work, they're gonna make it work.
Were you satisfied?
Absolutely, I was satisfied. I was, you know, without a season 2, I would not have been satisfied because like I was so dejected, like in the back of my heart with like why is it ending like this? because I needed to know what happened with Crosshair. Who is he? Just there now? Is that his is his season 2 going to be on the platform? The landing platform.
Just keeps cutting back to
They're
him.
gonna send scout ships to get him.
Yeah, I
he
mean,
somehow-
we'll see.
Yeah, he somehow finds a chair and starts playing a guitar while waiting for a Star Destroyer to show up.
Yes.
I mean, would the Empire even take him back?
Take him back. Yeah.
And then we're getting Vision. It just looks like, you know, it just looks like for every season of the year, and moving forward from here, we'll probably have for every month or every 2 months of the year, we will have something new to watch. And it's saturated to a point where Loki had to release on a Wednesday. And What If is on a Wednesday too. So we've come to a point where our consumption of Star Wars is not fast enough, and it's going to get even better or worse depending on your opinion of that. But like, we're gonna reach a point where we're not gonna have any lulls. We're going to watch a season finale, and then the next week is a season premiere of some other show. And hopefully with like Ahsoka, and if we get an update on Rangers, and Mando and Book of Boba Fett happening at the same time, those shows are going to more often than intersect. They're going to play off of each other. So when one season ends, the other's going to pick up where the other left off. So we're going to have this large narrative that takes place over like 3 or 4 shows, and it's going to be crazy. And I think Visions is yet another reason for people to just get on board, because, you know, a lot of people may be like disenfranchised with like thinking that they threw away Legends, but they really didn't. You know, Sator is still getting updates, and Visions is another example of them adding on to Legends. It's just a separate timeline. It's not a more or less important.
Not to mention they're re-releasing Legends books right now.
Yes. So I think hopefully, well, my hope for Visions is that it leads to anime that is canon. I would love them to use anime more often.
Agreed. I also kind of feel like this is a proof of concept type of deal, and it could lead to some amazing things. But I'm loving it. The chat's talking about Crosshair stuck on that platform. Brooke says, you know, he'll just call an Uber.
Uber is a species.
Quinlan picks him up.
Yeah, he does. He does. Sid said you could use help, and then Crosshair's like, "Who are you? Who's Sid?" And then Quinlan's like, "I think I have the wrong address."
Oh, that's the wrong Bad Batch.
At some point, Crosshair has no one now, which is super sad. No tan lines for Crosshair. That
He
means that
deserves no one. Crosshair deserves
Hey.
no one.
Ooh.
He was awful. Absolutely awful.
he was great at
No, he's
being
great.
awful.
No,
Yep.
he played the part was written so awful that I thought he was so awful, so that's great. I love when a bad guy is so awful, you're just like, oh my goodness, I just really can't stand that guy. You know, so he's written very well. I just think his betrayal and stuff was just horrible, and I don't think Crosshair deserves anything.
Well, I mean, as with all things, like you can definitely pick up on his remorse.
For sure.
He's not 100% convinced of his own words. You know, it's just bravado for him. And then
Right,
when
but he should have gone with them if he wasn't.
he should have. But it's funny that they ended the season with Omega being the last one to say something to him, and then that being the most impactful words instead of coming from like Hunter or Echo or Wrecker.
Yeah.
So
of course,
hoping for the best for Crosshair.
he's going to be on the platform singing "Castaways."
While splashing in the
Sorry.
Camino water, just splashing his feet. Castaways.
Mean Man says Crosshairs will just fly the landing platform. He'll be fine. And then we got Spoober and Spiff. Yeah,
I would
I'm
love to
loving
see
it.
Crosshair go back to the brothers. I just don't want to see him stay with the Empire.
Oh, of course. I genuinely think that that's what they're setting up, and I think Pep touches on it a lot. I also feel that Crosshair is kind of being set up to be the one to sacrifice himself in some way in redeeming himself to like save the Bad Batch or Omega.
How do you think that happens, Cal?
Oh man, I don't want to think about sad things.
Hey.
I mean, I would imagine that it's in a way to save Omega from the Empire directly. Sadly, it's probably going to be to like the quote unquote replacements as stormtroopers, just to kind of hammer in that imagery of being discarded and being replaced by a new military. But
I do want to answer
Yeah, I'm
Jedi
picturing-
Connor. I wasn't yelling, but my heart was breaking in real time. If you could watch my reaction
yep.
to that episode.
He was Padme in that situation.
You're breaking my heart. Oh, I did say that, didn't I? Crosshair, you're breaking
I
my
think you
heart.
did.
You did.
You're going down a path I cannot follow.
Oh no! I need to see that cosplay.
Oh, don't bet on it, please.
I
I say we
wanna
start a
see-
Kickstarter.
I want to see Boba meet Omega. Like, I want to see those two get together.
No, I appreciate, because we always do like to shout out, because we do have Brooke here. Brooke is in the chat with Far Far Away Factory. We just love her stuff and always like to shout out how amazing of a artist she is. We always appreciate you. But Cal, I mean, your thoughts? Bad Batch just ended, and we just got that Visions. So, like at the present time, we have the ending of one, something else coming right up to it. Your thoughts on where we are right now?
I mean, you know me. I always say more Star Wars is good Star Wars, and you know, riding the high that is Bad Batch into Visions, like being somebody who loves anime and has for as long as I have memories, as well as Star Wars, it's like the perfect marriage between two things that I absolutely love. So for me, I'm just hype, and like, I mean, like I have a stack of High Republic books next to me, and those are going amazingly. We have Star Wars soap. That's a thing now. Freaking not sponsored, but that exists. Got that too, even. But yeah, no, it's the same thing with Luke. Like if it exists in the
Did you get
Star
Wookiee
Wars,
scented?
no, sadly, but you can be Obi-Wan scented.
Hello
So-
there.
Exactly. But yeah, no,
Essence
for
of
me,
Ren.
it's- No, sadly.
Essence of Ren.
But now it's just flooding my mind with the images of Adam Driver that have
Shirtless,
have been
yeah.
around.
That's part horse. Yeah,
Part Orbeck.
Yeah.
Ode
Yeah,
to
those-
instability.
God, those are some odd commercials. Yeah. Okay. So kind of moving forward, let's talk about what Well, actually, I mean, just real quick, my thoughts on it. A Bad Batch, I really enjoyed it. I do feel like Bad Batch largely played it safe, but you have to play it safe because you're in a time period where there's so many things around. You're in this little box, you can't really bump into the sides. They're like playing story operation
Totally.
type deal. But it's really interesting to see how this is unfolding. But I love the fact that they are going to be tying more of the things that I really enjoy from Legends um, into it. And I think that we can go some really interesting place. Um, Hopefully, this kind of shuts people up who think that the sequel's going to get retcon because there's so much other stuff that is tying into them and setting them up that wouldn't even make sense. Now, I love that we got the trailer for Visions. That Visions is the next visual project after Bad Batch because it's the two extremes. One of them was safe and it was familiar, but it was good. It was a solid story. This one is going to be new, exciting, and interesting. Kind of like do its own thing. And I mean, that's like you guys said. More Star Wars is good Star Wars. As we get more projects, we are going to have. I mean, if Star Wars is for everyone, then there are going to be things that you may not be super into, and someone else is. That's their whole world, and that's exactly where we need to be. So that's why I'm really excited. Visions looks incredible. We recently watched the film Promare, which is the same makers, and this looks like it's the same art style as the twins. And it was just a fun movie. It was insane. It was a ride. Highly recommend it. Uh, yeah.
It's on HBO Max.
Yeah,
If
watch
you
it
have
on
it.
HBO Max if you like.
Definitely
If
got to
you
check
want an
that
idea
out.
of it.
Have you seen it, Luke?
No, I haven't. See, my thing is like my anime knowledge is very limited. Very, very limited. So I've only seen all of the Naruto stuff and the Dragon Ball Z. So I'm your basic, like, I've only seen 2 anime.
That's not
No.
basic.
If you've watched like full 500 episodes of Naruto, you're already not basic, so that's okay.
Okay.
But also, everyone starts somewhere. So
Yeah.
we're happy to have you.
Welcome.
Yeah, that was my first introduction. So I watched it when it was airing in the United States in 2000? Did the original one first come out in 2000 or 2002? I can't remember. It's
Time.
been so long ago. Yeah, time. Exactly. But yeah, I definitely have to check out more anime after seeing Visions because that might broaden my horizons when it comes to that category.
Well, you are a Squadron 7 member. We will be doing a lot of watch-alongs and hopefully a lot more anime too.
There we
Because
go.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
movies that we could get out of the way, including X-Core Gamer Skills' long-running gag of telling me to tell people about Ninja Scroll, but that is an 18 plus anime. It's not really easy for me to recommend it on my channel.
But
And-
also, I just wanted to just shout out Squadron 7 for any people that are interested in joining. That's Element 7. It's on his channel. And yeah, watch alongs and cool stuff, cool people. You get to pick your own ship.
I wanted to say that, with like Revenge of the Sith and stuff, I like that the shows put some recontextualization into the movies. Like, retcon isn't that they just want to take it away and replace it with something new or pretend it doesn't exist. They're just giving some more information in regards to it, just like the Clone Wars did to Anakin and Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith and stuff like that. And so the Bad Batch was just adding some info to the sequel trilogy and the cloning of Snoke and stuff. So I mean, when people say retcon, it doesn't have to be negative because they're just adding more to the story. So I actually think that's a good thing. It gives people more information in regards to what was going on.
Yeah, and I think we should kind of also use this as an opportunity, Chaka, to clarify the difference between filling in the gaps and retcons and how people have been misusing that term.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people use it improperly all the time. Like filling in gaps that we don't have the information is not a retcon. But also, like you said, Gray, it's often used as a negative thing of like they're erasing something, and that's also not what it's supposed to be.
Mm-mm.
So like I don't know, my favorite example of a retcon is Green Lantern. If you remember the old Super Friends show, he was weak to the color yellow. That was weird. But it turned out that in a later story, they revealed that Parallax, which was a being built off of fear, that the Yellow Lanterns are theirs are based off of, was imprisoned inside of the battery, and that's why there was that yellow impurity. Like that's the earliest, like true definition of a retcon. It's retroactive continuity. It's
Oh,
more
okay.
information. And no, you weren't using it incorrectly. I just like to go over it, but more often than not, it's like, oh no, they're using it to erase this, or no, this was a plot hole that they're covering. You're
Yeah,
right.
and it's like, but all your old Star Wars had those same plot holes, even the original series. But and then they had
Absolutely.
to like do stuff about that, but nobody complains about that because, you know, it just everybody has a problem with prequels and sequels, and they're just like, oh, which they're good. I don't
I
Yeah.
think
anyway.
Yeah.
A
I think a lot
T-16
of that.
Skyhopper has the same controls as an X-wing, and that's why Luke was able to fly it his first time. That's the same thing.
I thought the
Same thing.
T-16 was a gun
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Well, my
But what we
favorite
could,
from the sequel movies that people tend to think is a retcon that they like to cite is that Snoke saying you are unbalanced, um, and bested by a girl who had never held a lightsaber, you failed. That dialogue was to retcon why she was successful on Starkiller, which is definitely not the case. I think even Blackbird said, sorry, I keep on citing it, but he even said that they wrote that in there to explain that. But that's not a retcon at all. It's just he's just commenting on that fight, and he's saying you were unbalanced, and that's it.
I think I
And Rey's like a Jedi now. She defeated Palpatine. Obviously, that was like the most massive Jedi trial there could have ever been.
yeah,
So she's a Jedi master, and people do not like that.
I think where a lot of the frustration stems from is expectation and headcanon, to where when there isn't things to fill in the blanks, people will just come up with it themselves, or it'll kind of be like a collected agreement on like Wikipedia or something like that, where people just kind of all say the same story, but it was never officially stated. So then when something does come out that actually kind of defines it or shapes it a little bit more for us, now their whole world's shattered because they had preconceived notions of things and how they work. And I think we see that a lot, with people like saying like, what does it take to learn how to use the Force and to be a master and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's like that stuff's never defined.
It never
Mhm.
has been. And every time I have a preconceived notion, it hits me upside the head like, you were an idiot. You shouldn't have thought that. You know, wasn't interested in visions. And then they let out the trailer, and I was like, oh my gosh, why was I not interested? And I've never been a Boba Fett fan. And then Boba Fett showed up on The Mandalorian. I was like, oh my gosh, he is like so cool. Oh my, so every time I have a negative thought, they always like, what? Nope, that was wrong.
Well,
I
you're
love it.
definitely late to the party of people who thought he was cool
No, I
simply
know.
because no, simply because I think he says 2 lines in the entire trilogy, and then he gets whopped into the Sarlacc pit,
Mhm.
But he looked cool.
but he
did
looked
look cool.
cool.
He did look cool. I think that was the
I
biggest.
mean, that's
I think that was
that's
the
not
biggest
wrong.
appeal. It was the biggest
My-
appeal for that character in the original
Yeah.
trilogy. Like,
I am in that
man,
club with you, by the way, Gray.
Okay.
He wasn't cool to me until
No,
Mandalorian.
and
Yeah.
I was like, when we had somebody like Cad Bane and like Bosk,
oh
I,
yeah.
I was just like, what? And then in the Mandalorian, Boba is a treasure. He is amazing.
Yeah, Absolutely. It just reminds me how in Legends, um, Boba Fett escapes the Sarlacc, right? The Jawas find him, and then they ends up in this weird mission. He's kind of like lost his memory, and like the characters from the original trilogy are still there on Tatooine doing stuff. Those Jawas pick up R2 when they're trying to like rescue him, and like Boba doesn't remember what's going on, so he helps them rescue R2, and then he remembers, and then like is trying to shoot at Han, and then um, and then like he's stuck on the sand crawler, which goes out of control and drives into another Sarlacc. So in Legends, he fell in the same Sarlacc twice.
Oh, see,
And
I
then-
like that they're bringing some cool stuff out of Legends and leaving the lame stuff behind.
they're being selective.
They are.
Very-
And
They
because
have
if you
to
like-
be.
If you look at
Yes.
Legends as a whole, you know, Chewbacca's dead and just so much stuff. And if they could go, okay, well, we don't like those couple aspects, and then they take all the really rad stuff from Legends and bring it in, I mean, who could complain?
Can you just imagine people seeing Chewie die on screen to a planet?
That's what I'm saying, and that's one of the reasons they didn't keep Legends as canon. Is specifically they wanted Chewie. They wanted Chewie and that relationship with him for the new Star Wars, and that was one of the main reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, like they weren't intended to be like, even in the old Heir to the Empire book, there's a disclaimer in the beginning of the book, like by the by like the copyright area, the publisher area, where it says, you know, this is just our thoughts of it, but the actual story is still George Lucas's, you know. And so it would make sense that they're like, you know what, there's over you know, I've only read 135 Legends books, and I'm not even halfway done. I'm not even close. So there's so much stuff. I'm happy that they could just kind of like, okay,
Mhm.
put this on pause, put that on the back burner. Let's focus on this, because that's just too much. There's no way you can do it.
Mhm.
Because I'm fluent with the canon Star Wars, and then I learn Legends as it's brought in, because when it was just too much for me to keep in my brain and then separate what was canon to what was not canon. And so I'm actually not a Legends. I don't know Legends until they bring it in.
I'm with you, Gray. 110%. That's kind of how my brain works too.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic and ADHD, and it just like, nope, that's too much.
Same here. ADHD.
Same.
Just
I'm the double whammy as well, dyslexic and
Yeah.
ADHD. So
Yeah.
Well,
feel
it
that.
happens for sure. There are some like moments where even Chaco and I were like are talking about something that happened in Legends, but it also happened in canon too.
Mhm.
And then we're just kind of pick apart which parts of that are canon.
And you have to differentiate which is what.
Yeah.
But my brain doesn't like to do that.
No.
It's all in like a big jumble, and I have to find it.
Yeah.
And then real quick, I mean, we do want to jump into you know, the past, right? The few recent projects, but I do want to jump out, you know, meme man. Hard time saying that. Can you stop it, Suki? All right, cool. In regards to Rey being a Jedi Master, I just want to say, if you are following the same information, the same rules, the same everything that Luke went through, if you're comfortable considering Luke to be a master with the information that we have about Luke, then we have to afford Rey that same benefit.
I
Because,
100% agree with that.
you know, it's not like Luke obviously he's going to be a master because there's no other Jedi left, right? He's the
He
Grand
trained for, like,
Master
2
of the
weeks.
Order. But yeah,
He
as
trained
far
for like
as
2 weeks, that was it. I mean,
Yeah.
Luke is,
I mean-
self-taught, right? Because he trained for a few weeks, you know, and we have like a year before Return of the Jedi. But in that year, he did train himself, so he does have more training than just the 2 weeks. But
only
from an
2
actual
weeks with a
person.
master with Yoda. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it was all by himself. How is Rey not a Jedi? She had a master, and she didn't learn everything all by herself, and she trained for significantly longer.
No,
And
but
defeat
that's
Palpatine.
absolutely true.
And defeat
And-
Palpatine. which is worse, which is even a bigger deal than Luke beating Vader.
The biggest thing we have to think about in this topic is none of us have any say in this.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know he's not trying to be toxic and that's his opinion, but like, it's not, he's not part of the board of who gets to be a Jedi Master. So, and none of us are either. However, just like Chaco said, if you are going off of what we have in terms of evidence, she was afforded a trial by Luke to face down her fears, and she did that. So at the very least, she's a Jedi Knight. But her feat at the very end could definitely make her master. It doesn't really, it really is just a title that's bestowed, and no one is there to bestow it. And it's just like Luke, I like to play around with the notion that Luke called himself a Grand Master, but there was like another order in the wild space that tried to rebuild, and they're completely separate from him.
Same with Kanan and Ezra.
Run by like
Exactly.
Cal Kestis.
Yeah, there are other orders, and it's not this kind of centralized, organization anymore. And then Luke is just, no one's around. I'm a Grand Master of this order. And then like a grandmaster from another temple, like over in Lira San comes in. He's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm a grandmaster." He's like, "Who? What? Who
I
made
mean,
you
that's-
grandmaster?"
That's why martial arts school fight each other. So
Exactly.
I'm down to see it.
Mhm.
All right. So we've had all. I kind of just listed the most recent like 10 projects or so. I know I easily could have done all books, but we have this the first bit, the first two waves, the High Republic, Mando season 2, the Lego holiday special. We had Clone Wars season 7. Before that was Mandalorian season 1. Squadrons came out, Fallen Order came out, Rise of Skywalker, Resistance, Forces of Destiny. As far as the whole overall state of Lucasfilm, I mean, how with what we've gotten, how do you guys think where they're doing? And I'll start with Luke this time.
Like I'm in the same thing with Cal. I will consume everything, and not everything's for me. Um, but I mean, I'll still enjoy it because if it's in the canon timeline, that's what it is. I'm not one of those people that just gets all up in arms about continuity and things. I mean, it's Star Wars, guys. The one thing you're supposed to enjoy Star Wars. If you're
Space
not
Wizards.
enjoying Star Wars, then what? I mean, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's so strange to see people bash things that other people love instead of just being able to agree to disagree.
That's why
You
they're
know what I mean?
here. That's why they're there. They want to make you not like it, just like they don't like it. They can't just leave you alone with your opinion.
Exactly. And like I said, like if people were able to agree to disagree on a lot of comment sections on both YouTube and TikTok, I think the toxicity wouldn't be as loud. But I've enjoyed everything that's come out since Disney has bought Lucasfilm.
I
So
have
I
too.
mean,
I have
it-
to.
it's really hard for me to say that I don't love something. But I mean, I loved Battlefront 2's campaign. The Last Jedi the sequels aren't my favorite trilogy, but I enjoy those movies for what they are. Resistance is okay. Fallen Order, great. Mando, great. Season 7 of Clone Wars, fantastic. Holiday special, the Lego one is interesting. Mando season 2 was always great. Now the High Republic is just, I mean, they've just knocked it consistently out of the ballpark for me. So, I mean, I've just really enjoyed it.
I mean,
Yeah,
let's
and there's
just
nothing.
let's just acknowledge the fact that we weren't getting much of it to begin with before
Mm-mm.
Disney bought it. When
No.
they bought it,
Mhm.
things started happening.
I think
Exactly.
the only thing I was unhappy with that Disney did was when they canceled Clone Wars a couple seasons early. and that really put a foul taste in my mouth when they bought it. But then it started. Then we got Rebels, and it got really good after season 1. And then they brought back and we consistently been getting everything. And they gave us back Clone Wars and finished it. So they realized their mistake. And I have no problems with Lucasfilm or Kathleen Kennedy. I know that's a weird subject, but I think she's doing great. And I just rewatched the sequels, and I enjoyed it very much, just as much as I enjoy watching the very first Star Wars. 4, 5, and 6. Maybe I don't like certain things as much, but it was just as enjoyable for me.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I brought those up as kind of like the 10 most recent, because even if you just drag down, absolutely hate the sequels, you have to admit, since then, if you liked Mando season 1 and 2 and Clone Wars season 7 and the Bad Batch, then you have enjoyed what they've been doing since then. If you enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order, and there's all kinds of things. Personally, I haven't loved everything. I mean, I've consumed it all, but of course, I think there's some low cards in that hand. I still haven't finished Squadrons, and not that it wasn't good. It's just that it didn't captivate me.
I don't like Resistance.
Yeah,
I didn't enjoy Resistance.
Yeah,
I'm with you on the Squadrons. I'm not a fighter. I'm not get into a plane and fly. Give me Battlefront 2. I'm on the ground all the time. Give me that. I
played the first couple missions of Squadrons. I was like, this is a great game. I never played it again.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I feel bad because I have 2 flight sticks, and I still haven't played it. Like, I own it, haven't played it yet.
I don't play video games, but I watched a playthrough of Fallen Order for the story, and it was amazing. And I tried.
That's the biggest thing is, like, in defensive games, is even if you're not somebody who plays games, that doesn't mean that there's not story there and there's not good characters there. And that's why I love, like, Let's Plays and things like that, is because it allows people to absorb that content. Because, like, we don't need a Fallen Order TV show or a movie. We have the game. It can be watched. Let's have more new stuff. So, I'm glad that you said that, and that you're open to the idea of being able to watch that stuff too.
Yeah, I only play Galaxy of Heroes on the phone.
Yeah.
See, like Cal was saying, the playthroughs, I could never get myself into do SWTOR or KOTOR, so I would watch either the cutscenes or watch somebody play it, and I'd get the gist of it. And I don't know if I'll ever get into it, but I enjoyed watching the playthrough, so I think that's something that they can really jump on as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Also, shout out to a good friend of the channel, Shayla Wren, who sadly couldn't make this panel, but who streams game. Like, if you want to do watch alongs and stuff, definitely follow Shayla Wren's channel. She's just the best. But yeah, I mean, Pep, how about you? Your thoughts on the recent past and how Lucasfilm is doing?
They're doing good. I mean, come on now. The sequels made a lot of money. That you cannot objectively tell me otherwise. They might not have made the most money. They might not have made as much money as another property, but that's not how we, quantify metrics of, like, if something succeeds or not. First of all, if any movie makes $1 billion, they've at least recouped twice their investment already. And that's not even including merchandise and toy sales. We have, oh man, I really hope that DJO can, if you're watching, DJO, compass some tickets to Star Cruiser, because for the life of me, I will not be able to burn a hole through my wallet large enough to be able to go to that thing. So
I would never. No.
I'd love an influencer pass so that we can make a video about it. But yes, we have Star Cruiser, Galaxy's Edge. You can build your lightsaber.
I'm about
they're
to sell
they're
a
doing
kid
so
one.
well. Everyone has a place to be. Like, even if you hate the sequels, you know those people go to Galaxy's Edge.
Oh yeah.
You know these people are enjoying Disney and Lucasfilm's Star Wars right now.
Mhm.
And it's just one of those things that you have to accept as a Star Wars fan. If you are a fan, it doesn't matter what you don't like, what you like in Star Wars, because the truth of the matter is that there is going to be something you like. And if Star Wars is prevalent and relevant, you're going to consume it and you're going to take part in it. And this is why I point out people who hate the sequels are still going to Galaxy's Edge just because it's Star Wars, right?
Mhm.
So you can't tell me that they're doing bad or Star Wars is dying. I don't know how you would quantify that in any way, but the word Star Wars trends more each week that passes before Disney bought it and before Lucas was just sitting on that property. After they bought it, Star Wars was in the conversation again.
Yep.
And we started loving Star Wars again. Like, I mean, we didn't stop loving it. At least I didn't. So I can only speak for myself, but like I loved it so much more than I did before. So, it's doing good.
I feel bad for all the hate and how Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley basically just got chased out of the fandom, and they're like, I'm never doing anything else. And I think I would just, I think that's sad. I would love to see them do more and reprise their characters and more Ben Solo and stuff like that. And I think the toxic fandom has chased people away, and I think it's sad.
Go ahead and talk to Hayden Christensen, Adam Driver, and Daisy Ridley, and Ahmad Best. And
Oh,
I
yes,
mean, just
I find that to be one of the saddest things because I actually don't mind
And
Jar
Jake
Jar,
Lloyd.
especially Jar
Yeah.
Jar in Clone Wars, the animated series. I think
Uh-huh.
they totally made him not so awful. They gave him some more depth, and I don't mind Jar Jar anymore. And Hayden Christensen is he got chased out of Star Wars as well, and I think that's super sad. He did great. They all those actors did what they were given to
yes.
a T. And so if people want to be mad, they could be mad at what they were given, but not at what they did. This
Yeah.
But don't you know
Yeah.
George Lucas could do no wrong?
George Lucas did plenty wrong. You should see some of the cutscenes that
Oh,
they
yeah.
took out of the prequels when Anakin is actually going beep beep boop beep 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 talking to R2D2 like that. Then there's also some others where the vomit of just exposition is so terrible, and anyway, he did wrong as well. Everybody does wrong. You can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
There's just some people out there that are going to be like it's not Star Wars if it ain't George Lucas. But then being like, you're not a
Dave
true
Filoni
fan
does-
if you don't know who Darth Revan is. And I'm like, he was created by Drew Karpyshyn. It has nothing to do with Lucas.
yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, I don't like the gatekeepers. I get asked
Exactly.
questions that gatekeep Star Wars, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to ask me that. I don't know about Revan, but I could tell. I don't need to have my
Yeah.
knowledge tested.
Just make sure you have your Star Wars fan card when you walk through the door. I tell you
no,
what, it's absolutely
I've been telling
ridiculous.
people, you just need to bring an actual fan, because that's a true fan. If it doesn't oscillate and if it doesn't pivot at least 120 degrees, it's not a true fan.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's a good analogy. That's I've never thought about that before.
But yeah, how about you, Cal? With what we've gotten so far, are you happy with it? Are there some low cards in there or some high cards?
I mean,
How do you feel?
I think very deeply that anybody who likes Star Wars would agree with this, that Star Wars is not just a movie we saw when we were a kid. It's not just a show that we enjoy from time to time. It is so much more than that. So I think it's a little foolish for people to, on one hand, agree with that. Like I firmly believe that any Star Wars fan would agree with, and then like with it transcending just a movie, have the expectation that it's always going to be the same thing or always going to be for them and stuff like that, because it's no longer just a movie. It's almost its own genre at that point. And of course there's going to be things in a genre that you don't like, and there's going to be things that you do like. Like it's like food too. Like
Mhm.
you can like sandwiches, doesn't mean you have to like a Reuben, even
I
though
loved
like
Seinfeld and hated George Costanza.
yeah. And so like
I've never seen Seinfeld.
neither have I.
What?
Really?
But
Whoa.
It's like one of the greatest comedies, TV
No
shows
soup
wise.
for
Well,
you.
I've seen it in passing as I'm
Okay.
channel surfing.
Yeah,
It's not
okay.
like I haven't heard of it, but
right.
like
Okay.
no, I never watched it like that.
You've never
What?
seen Seinfeld? Oh.
Kramer's the best. I just relate to Kramer so much.
Kramer the
We'd love to
character,
see
not-
that, wouldn't we? We would love
Not
to
the
see that.
It just-
comedian so much.
There's always things people don't like, but there's no reason to knock the entire everything because of it.
Exactly. It's like somebody being like, "Man, I really love a good Philly cheesesteak." And they're like, "Yeah, but I've had Reuben, so sandwiches suck." And it's like,
yeah.
what? No,
It just
doesn't-
comes
it
out of
doesn't make
left
sense.
field too.
Yeah,
like
it's
some
like,
of the comments
okay,
just
so
come out of left field.
Don't consume that. Consume what you do like, and I think that's why I get really frustrated when I see people be like, you know, Mandalorian saved Star Wars. And it's like, as somebody who's been a fan since I can remember, no, it didn't. It was very reminiscent to the original trilogy. So if that was your favorite meal, of course it's going to be like, ooh, yes, more of what I really like. But for me, somebody that tries to enjoy everything Star Wars, yeah, the ruining sandwiches. Disney ruined cold cuts. But for somebody I love Star Wars. I try and absorb everything that I can. And so for somebody who was in that situation, for me it was like the Old Republic came out, the MMO, and I'm like, cool, this is going to be like the last big thing for Star Wars. There might be a couple small game projects or anything like that, but yay. And then we get the trailer for a new trilogy, and
Game
Star Wars
changer.
everywhere again. And for people to not say that the sequels weren't the catalyst that really brought Star Wars back to the mainstream and has made it everywhere, they're fooling themselves. Just because it wasn't made for you or it wasn't your favorite doesn't mean that it didn't make the Star Wars fandom bigger. Because that's the biggest thing, right? Is more fans of something, more money going into it is going to inevitably make it larger. Now we have a theme park and 10 new shows on the horizon.
And all the canon novels to me are
breathtaking.
Amazing. I love 98% of them.
That's the number one difference right there, is that the expanded universe of now is actually canon.
It
Mhm.
is.
And so
great.
Kathleen Kennedy does have thousands of pages of source material, whereas
Mhm.
before she didn't. So if you were a fan of Legends, you should be reading these new canon books because they're actually
Yeah.
consequential now.
And
Yes.
even some of the older canon ones, like the Force Collector, that could have great implications in the future of Star Wars. I love that book. The books that pertain to Batuu, Phasma, Tarkin, those are just, they're treasures to listen to. I love every bit of it.
Chaco
I
likes
guess
to make
a,
this.
quick shout out to that boy Steve, who always misses the live. So appreciate you having it. Appreciate you
Hey.
stopping by. But what were we gonna say, Pep?
Well, you like to make the left-handed analogy, and it made me think of something like when Cal was talking about your favorite meals. It's like someone going into a restaurant and saying, "Why are all of these food items on the menu?"
Right?
I only ordered the grilled cheese, and I only order a Coke and some fries.
That's a
Why
great,
are all of these other foods on this menu? And then the guy that he's asking, he's just like, get out.
Yeah. And that's honestly kind of what I was trying to imply with the analogies. It's exactly that. It's
That was
just
perfect.
because other food that isn't your favorite food exists doesn't mean don't eat.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to wait until someone else is consuming their food and then stand
Smack
at
it
their
on the hand.
table and tell them that their food is bad.
This is why it's bad.
well, I'm a
Yeah, a long
vegetarian, and that's like
paragraph.
me going into a restaurant and being mad that they serve meat. or like I
Mhm.
can't stand the smell of fish. I can't even be around any sort of seafood. And it's like me going into Red Lobster and being like, "Oh, this smells like fish,"
I'm gonna stay
Right.
here for the next
and
365
complain
days.
about it.
Exactly. Just don't go there. Don't consume what you don't like. It's okay.
Oh, Connor.
So Jedi Connor just finished
Oh, buddy.
Rising Storm
Oh.
last night. So
F in the
everyone
chat.
pour one out. F in the chat for Connor.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's give him some mental hugs.
oh, Rising
Yeah.
Storm was. It made me cry at the end. I actually had to listen to it again. I'm like, wait, what just happened? Wait, what? Just
Yeah, because it
happened?
leaves you on such a cliffhanger.
I legitimately like kept flipping the page back over and over and like was looking at the end
It'll
of the
change.
audiobook and I'm
It'll
like,
change.
No,
wait,
that wasn't a cliffhanger. That was a
Well-
freaking big wall in front of you that you
Yeah.
just smacked into.
Yeah.
it wasn't even that. It was just the void.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like we've reached the edge of Earth, right?
Yeah, it's just
Finally.
like, oh, here's what happens, and then you hear the audiobook, then you hear that dun dun.
Yes.
Audible. Like,
What?
No, I don't
I
even
know.
think.
Enjoying this
I don't
audio.
even think they had that. I don't even think they had that.
Really?
Like
heard that.
they read the last line, then they said this has been an Audible production.
No. There was Mark Thompson being like, "This is
Yeah,
Mark
yeah.
Thompson, you know,
Yeah, there
from
was,
Penguin
but,
House Audio."
like, I had to
Oh, yeah.
rewind it. I'm like, what did I miss? And I rewound it, and I was like, I didn't miss anything. I still don't know what happened.
I
rewound it
legitimately
again,
thought
and
I
I'm
had a
listening. I'm like,
but it was the fact that I was listening to the audiobook and reading that like I just sat there in stunned silence for no joke, like 30 minutes, just staring at the book, and I was like,
Oh,
Conspiracy Cantina is asking what the F is for. Well, I think it started out with from a game where you had to press F to pay respects
"Yes,
in the game, and so that is what everyone is pressing F for.
yes.
good old internet meme."
Yeah.
Yep.
oh,
All right, X-Wing's out of here. Have a good one, buddy. Brooke said, "He who remains," said mic drop and left. It's yeah, that's something like that. But speaking of which, because we have exciting stuff to look forward to. Actually, I didn't go to Gray yet. I want to hear Gray's thoughts on. I mean, we've all been talking about it, so we kind of have heard.
I've been
Heard that?
talking with every single person about
Yeah.
their thoughts.
Which is totally fine. Which is totally
Yeah.
fine. No, let's jump into the future then, and then for this one, I'll actually start with Element. So we have a bunch of future coming up, things, all these shows and books. I mean, I put the Throne Ascendancy book, which I know Element has not read any of them yet, but and Queen's Hope. But we had like a weird horror holiday Lego thing that's coming up. I don't even know what that kind of hit me out of left field.
I'm okay with this.
A book of Boba Fett. We have Wave 3 of the High Republic coming out. I mean, we're days away from Tempest Runner with Lorna D. Obi-Wan has, depending on who you listen to, has either finished wrapping or will in the next like 2 to 3 weeks. Mando season 3 will be filming soon. Got Andor. Bad Batch has a season 2. Ahsoka, I believe, is next on the Filoni Favreau list of projects.
Lando.
Yeah.
Just a lot.
All hail
Yeah.
Filoni.
So, I mean, how are you feeling? Is Lucasfilm okay? I mean, what do you think about this upcoming slate? I know we've been kind of gushing over what we've gotten in the past, but do you think we'll be able to continue this trajectory? Is it going to be a good trajectory? Yeah, what are you thinking?
Was that for me?
Yes.
I think it's a fantastic trajectory, simply because it's starting off with the things that it needs to in order for kind of close the books, because like the trajectory that I've wanted them to do for the longest time is go away from the Skywalker saga. As soon as episode 9 hit, I was like, okay, we're done. That's good. And of course there's a lot in between that people want. So we're getting Obi-Wan, we're getting Ahsoka, Mando, Obi-Wan within that, 66, A New Hope time period. Ahsoka, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett being within after Return of the Jedi. And so hopefully we'll get these shows and continue this trajectory to kind of fill in the gaps between the trilogies. But at some point, as I look at Wave 3 High Republic, we're going to start getting shows like The Acolyte. That is the tail end High Republic, but also we'll get more shows that are before the High Republic, in the midst of the High Republic, and we may even get some stuff about the Old Republic, because of course they, even from before the High Republic era, they were name dropping the Old Republic, and so it's not something that they haven't been planning, and it's certainly not something that is canon in terms of internal details. It's just the era is canon. So with people in the High Republic citing the Old Republic, I think it's only a matter of time before they give us a canon version of that Old Republic era. And so I think the current trajectory right now tracks with giving us all that we need to do or explore the in-betweens of each of these trilogies and those time periods. And then the High Republic, even though it's still in its like infancy almost, with books, comics, and even an audio drama in Tempest Runner, I think by the time we are done with Ahsoka, or at least Ahsoka season 1, Mando 3, Book of Boba Fett 1, and Obi-Wan, that will be in like 2023, 2022, and then we'll start seeing maybe Rian Johnson's trilogy, which is the High Republic, and maybe we'll start to see Taika Waititi's movie, which is The Dawn of the Jedi. Because I don't know, the only evidence I'm going off of, because this isn't confirmed, is the prehistoric treatment of the logo of Star Wars. And the only thing you can possibly think of in prehistoric is dinosaurs, but they don't have dinosaur DNA, right? So they just have Thoyor,
Shout out to
Chthon,
DJO.
Dano DNA.
Dana? Doesn't have Dana? Sorry.
So like, yeah, I'm not going to think of Jurassic Park in Star Wars, right? I'm going to think of the prehistory, right? The 25,000 BBY, the Dawn, the Thoyors, the Jedi, and the Daibendu. And I think all that stuff. Obviously, they're
I
not.
didn't know about that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it isn't canon. I do believe the Order of the Daibendu is by name, and the Jedi are canon by name. So they have a lot to kind of like. Listen, I wouldn't want them to one-to-one canonize the Jedi, because that is a stupid story. I'm sorry. I just know that Force sensitives being called to Tython by like aspects of the Force is great, but like the stories in between is kind of like eh. So I would love for them to build off of the Dawn of the Jedi and kind of make it better.
Julie says, rise.
And she
Good
keeps
one.
going.
That's perfect.
My dyslexic brain can't handle how many titles are now. It's
War of the Rise of the Dawn.
Yeah, War
too
of-
many of those.
They mess with me as well.
I just know the more that we get away from the Skywalker saga, the more we are going to get new. And that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, I tweeted about this yesterday. Star Wars is at its best when it gets weird.
I
Star
agree
Wars,
with that. The magic in Star Wars, the sorcery type stuff, that's my favorite Star Wars.
Yeah, obviously people are going to disagree, but for me, when Star Wars became Star Wars was when Yoda was introduced, when we were looking for this great warrior in this live action film, and it was a little green puppet that spoke backwards.
Right?
And so that's what I want to. That's what I want to see the most come in the future. Is I want to know about Yoda's species, everything. I want to know everything about Yoda's species, where they come from, how they're born, like where do they get, where they're going, why are they so powerful? I want to know this. I want a show about this, or maybe with Grogu going into about this, but I need to know this.
Oh man,
the set.
Star Wars ER or something like that, where it's like a medical drama, but it's different species and stuff that they have to work on, and like, and there's inner hospital drama and all that stuff, and they have to like.
That actually sounds super fun.
The sad part of what you just said, though, is that I do believe Hidalgo has come out and said that Yoda species will forever remain a mystery, just like Anakin's origin. But I would love a Yoda type of show where it follows him around in his early life and we get everything but his origin.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, that would be fine. I guess they're sticking with George Lucas's wanting to keep him a secret, but I thought maybe if Disney took it, they weren't going to follow that. So I was like, oh, now we might get it, but
That might
obviously
be
they're going
cool.
to stick with that.
They've
That
had
might be, that might be the one thing that they do respect George on.
yeah,
is
they've had
not
like
touching
5 encyclopedias, and we've only revealed just a smidge of physiology, which is the first 5 decades is infantile, and then the next is like a boom, they shoot up, right? And that's because Yoda became a master at 100. So, but then everything else, across all of these reference books, they're still trolling us with unknown. Like, okay, it's unknown. You don't have to give us another reference
Yeah,
to
I
Yoda
don't-
and say
I-
unknown.
I still want
I
to
mean,
know.
in my Star Wars hospital show, like one of Yoda's species gets injured, they're just like, oh shoot, I don't know what to do. Like,
By the
it's
way,
not in the books.
by
Like,
the way, Chaco, I would watch that. Like, hands down, I would watch that.
They have a
and
they
then
have
they have
a
to call.
they have a scenario with Immune coming in and be like, okay, we gotta think about this. They have 2 hearts. We gotta
Yeah.
make it to where we gotta get the blood pumping. It that would be interesting. I think that would be
Yeah.
kind of funny.
It would
And then
be.
it could be
fun.
like
Oh, no!
like we need a specialist, and so they call their Doctor House, and that's and then the
The
blade of
Grumpy
Morgana,
Trandoshan or something.
Chris.
quarter angle comes out, or buckets of blood comes out, and they're like,
Chris
Oh.
in the chat.
we need the specialists. Calling Dr. Grogu, and then Grogu walks in a lab coat. And then
So-
he'll-
So Chris in the chat says the Yoda show ends like The Sopranos, cutting to black when Yoda is about to reveal where he comes from. But like that made me laugh because that made me also picture the end of that show where he's going to reveal it. He's like, so like, what are you guys? Like, where you come from? And then Yoda goes, oh, you will know. And then cut credits.
You've been promising us the
Twist that
story of your origin for the last like 5 seasons. It's like, yeah, okay, where we actually come from, and then credits roll. It just fades
Yeah.
to black. And you're like,
That's funny.
That's painful.
terrible. How about you, Cal? Your thoughts on going forward?
Really quick before I touch that, one thing I did kind of miss that I had a thought on from the recent things that have come out is actually the Lego Holiday Special. I know it kind of gets overlooked and laughed at, but like as somebody that like during the holiday season when I'm wrapping presents and stuff like that, I'll throw on Star Wars and stuff like that. And it's like the perfect amalgamation of the like holiday feel, but then a bunch of like silly Star Wars references that are just fun. So for me,
Yeah.
that was one that like it was one that flew under the radar that I was like, I put it on just to be like, whatever. But then like halfway through, I stopped wrapping gifts and was just sitting there watching it. I was like, huh.
I like the Star Wars Legos. So the Lego games have and movies have the coolest noises. Like every single sound they make, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that sounds so cool. And then with the Star Wars ones, they bring in the Star Wars music and sounds mixed with those cool tinking sounds of the Legos. And just not even watching it, I find that so fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and like Connor's saying, Jedi Finn in the holiday special.
Mhm.
Yes, like let's get more of that, please. So that like I was just actually super intrigued by it. But as far as like the future of it, well, it's so jarring for me to go from where I felt like Star Wars was just watching it sail out into the horizon, and now it's like I'm overwhelmed. There's just so much stuff to consume, and it's like I have like a book sitting next to me I haven't finished. I have another one I haven't even started, and like it's such a cool feeling to just be this overloaded with it. But like I'm super hyped for everything. Like Andor, especially. Like I'm a big Rebels person. Like
Oh, I'm very excited for Andor.
so that's one that I'm just super excited for. I really loved Rogue One. I really loved Cassian in Rogue One.
K2SO was just, I think he was one of the greatest written. He wasn't even written. Alan Tudyk just
It was just
ad-libbed
him.
pretty much
Yeah.
every line, and so I think
He just is a
K2SO
droid.
and droids are one of my favorite aspects of Star Wars, and K2SO is my favorite droid. I just find
same.
him so fun.
Yeah,
I think he's my favorite canon droid.
I don't know
I had to pick.
non-canon, so
there's some pretty dope canon droids.
There
Mr.
are.
Bones, Triple
Bones.
Zero.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
You're
sorry.
not wrong.
Bones is my favorite, and then K2SO.
I gotta give it to BB-8 and Chopper.
I
Just
love
like
it.
I do love-
and then the
When
Oh,
Chopper
yeah.
got
81.
that Imperial droid from the ship,
Oh, I do
and
love
they're
BD-1.
working together, and they banter kind of like R2D2 and C3PO, but it's Chopper and that Imperial droid from
Oh,
Rebels.
yeah.
That is one of my favorite episodes, and he's like floating in space with the butterflies, and he's like,
the Rickman bot,
yes,
Oh yeah.
AP3,
Yes.
I think.
I love
Why are
that
you
droid.
going around like this?
Oh,
Yeah.
Julia Christine's right. I really do adore Clink. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Clink is just a big droid toddler. Like
He's just
it has
got the waddle. Oh, it's so
It has-
cute.
very little functionality, but it's so cute that you know it would exist.
Yeah.
And AZ is a fun droid. So much
AZ,
fun.
But let's
ID10, ID Versio's
Cad Bane's
floating
droid. What's his
Yeah.
name? Love
Oh
him.
yeah, Seth Green.
Yep. I know him
Yeah,
as Seth
uh-huh.
Green, but I can't think
Yeah.
of what his name is.
I know him as Seth Green.
Shout out to Brooke again. Shout out to BD1.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
That's a Brooke sticker.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
I got lots of cool Brooke stickers too. They're very nice.
BD1. It's always going to be R2 for me though.
Yeah.
That little guy.
That's my
That's
sister
a
as well.
classic.
It's her favorite.
That little guy, just everything that he sees and through the whole saga. Like I saw a TikTok the other day, like the reason why he follows Luke in Empire Strikes Back is because he saw Anakin leave and he didn't go with him. And
Yeah,
like
he was
the-
told to wait. He was told to wait in the ship, and he
yeah,
just
like
never
that
saw Anakin again.
that crushes my soul.
Oh,
It
Like,
does.
that
I
just
agree.
is
It's
like
heartbreaking.
every single time I see that little droid, like I shed a tear. Like that. Oh
Well, that's DePaul's favorite droid as well.
God.
He loves that droid.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Gray, I mean, your thoughts on any of these other projects that are? I know you're dead set on Andor, especially season 2 of Andor. But,
Ahsoka. I mean, I'm just a huge fan. I would love to see Ahsoka expand. You know, the Ahsoka expanded on and Omega expanded on. She's quickly rising up there with Ahsoka for me. I think it just has such a great beginning, even better than Ahsoka's beginning. So I think she's just going to be an amazing character. But so the Ahsoka series, the Obi-Wan series, and any of the novels, I like the novels more than any Star Wars, and then it would go the animation, then it would go the shows, and then the movies for me.
Absolutely. And yeah, like I said, we got another Thrawn novel coming out.
I'm
we've
re-listening
got-
to the Thrawns right now
They're so good.
to prep for it.
I need
uh,
to get into the Ascendancy, the
Yeah.
trilogy.
I just started the book 1 again because my ADHD brain has to listen to the books a couple times to really get into them. And on the second listen, I am down for that trilogy. It is an amazing trilogy, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I need to re-listen to the second book because I got COVID while it came out and was listening to it in the hospital, and so there's bits
Fever dreams.
that I may not. I had 104 fever while listening to it.
Yeah,
so-
when we got it, I was listening to some of those, and I had to re-listen to them. Like, I think my brain fried with COVID.
Yeah, but I mean, we got that one. We got Queen's Hope is coming out. There's even a Ronan a Visions novel that is coming out as well. We
didn't know
got
that.
these High Republic books that are still trickling out. Like I said, Tempest Runner is coming in like a week or
Mm-hmm.
like a week
Edge
or
of
two.
Balance too.
Edge of Balance, our
Mhm.
So
first
ready for Tempest Runner.
original manga that is going to be a Star Wars story. Um,
Somebody in
yeah,
the chat wanted to expand upon Ronin. I don't remember. It was way in the beginning of our show.
I think it was X-Core
yes,
Gamer
that was
Skills.
either him or DePaul, and I meant to bring it up, and I I apologize.
Well,
We get wild here. It's
he's
be
gonna do that just like he does that with Ninja Scroll. You know, I would love to see. I would love to see. We would love to see it. I mean,
it's like, you know, you did that. Okay.
I would love to see Andor have a naming convention for its episodes with Andor on, and then the finale to be Andor on Endor.
So it says Andor on, and then the planet, and then at the end it's Andor on Endor.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
We got
He's a
Levi
great ender.
Bond. Levi is also great. Shout out to the all new nerds. So yeah, check them out. But Crimson
great
Rain,
content.
and that's one of the things I'm most excited about too, is how this whole community is just like growing. And like, you know, I started this because I just wanted to talk to people about Star Wars, and then people are, you know, have their own podcast so that they can talk to people about Star Wars. And now we're all just, I mean, this was the whole goal, and it's, I don't know, it's been amazing to watch them.
Now, do we know if the Ronin novelization is not
canon?
canon?
So
Because it's expanded.
I heard the original thing I saw on it said that it was a canon novel. Now I don't know that is true. We'll see, because I don't know if maybe that was the original plans and things got changed. I haven't looked into Ronin as much, but Levi Bond in a chat was saying how it's basically an expanded novelization of the dual short, and if that's true, then it wouldn't be. But yeah, there's
No, that's not necessarily the case. If it wouldn't be, it would be a Revenge of the Sith novelization type of deal. You know, if the novelization of the duel is established as canon, then we would have a Revenge of the Sith novelization classification where the dual anime short lines up with the novelization. It's is canon. Everything else is not, but the novelization itself is canon.
Yeah, which is
Howchi.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, so many great comics and things as well going forward. Let's see. How about you, Luke?
If you can't tell, I'm a Darth Vader fan. So Obi-Wan is probably up there for me. I love the dynamic between Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, especially watching the behind-the-scenes stuff of Revenge of the Sith and see how much they care about each other and their charisma and back and forth. So seeing Obi-Wan and Vader possibly go toe-to-toe and have a scene where Vader either gets his mask taken off or he takes it off and looks at Obi-Wan and says, "This is what you've done to me," and we actually get to see a very strong Hayden Christensen act. Like that's what I'm looking forward to. Also looking forward to Ahsoka because of the possible connection with Luke, and maybe they run into each other and after she rescues Ezra or whatever. I mean, High Republic's up there as well. Boba's up there. Like I said earlier, I will consume all of it. It doesn't matter.
More Star Wars is good Star Wars.
Shut up and take my money meme. That's me with Disney and Star Wars. Shut up and take my money. It doesn't matter.
Same.
It's just it doesn't. I mean, even if they don't do what I want them to do for Obi-Wan, which they probably won't, but I mean, I'll still enjoy it because it's Star Wars and it's supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be fun, and that's what I'm gonna take from it. So I'm really excited with what's coming. So
So I really enjoyed the Kenobi book from John Jackson Miller, and so there's certainly elements to it that I want to see in it. But I also don't want them to do anything that was in that book at the same time. So it's all new, and it's
Right.
Yeah.
not, I do want Plug Eye in there, but
The from a certain point of view when he was talking to Qui-Gon on Tatooine would be pretty fun to see a flashback
Yeah.
of or something.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And as we sit here talking about, Star Wars getting bigger and bigger, we have this new announcement today with Crimson Reign being the story of Kira. We all knew that this was going to happen. As soon as War of the Bounty Hunters brought her back in, we were like, yep, this is the start of her story. And we're going to get it. And this is how Maul...
Nope, that's a retcon. She's dead.
I'm behind on my comics. The summer's been overly busy for me. I am 2 months behind on all comics.
Oh, I'm same.
So not to spoil anything, the War of the Bounty Hunters is about Han Solo, as he's carbonized in Empire Strikes Back, and so a whole bunch of bounty hunters are going after his his bounty.
It's awesome.
And Kira made an appearance in the comics, and so now we're going to get her story. What happened to her since Solo? Like, what is she doing? So
How did she become the
it's
head of Crimson Dawn?
Right. I want to see more bounty hunters. I love bounty hunters. Got Imbo, Bosk.
Yes.
Fennec Shan just quickly climbed up to be one. I mean, I am just such a Cad Bane fan.
Right.
And then she's up there with Cad Bane in that battle with Cad Bane. I mean, anyway, I would love to see more bounty hunter stuff.
Well, we would love to see that.
Oh yeah.
And am I mistaken in that wasn't DJO going to be doing something specifically with Zuckuss? I think he recently just got his first Marvel comic for Star Wars, and I want to say it's bounty hunter related, but we'll have to double check. But
Yeah.
Just a lot of awesome stuff coming up. All right,
so Chrysanthemum can show up in Ahsoka or in Mando.
I mean, but then I want Afro there too. Like, so we keep chaining. I mean, I see what you're doing. All right, so we've all kind of gone around and talked about all the awesome things that we are excited for that's coming up. I am excited for. I mean, the next and kind of final topic is the community, right? We've had a lot of negatives and toxicity and stuff like that, but honestly, over this past year, there's been a wave of positivity that I've seen just kind of travel across. I'm even seeing it on Twitter now, which is weird. That's where happiness goes to die.
Yeah, I don't even have Twitter. I got rid of Twitter and Facebook. It's too negative and ornery. It's not good for my mental stability, to be honest.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do get a little snippy myself on it, but never undeserved.
That's where Darth Trauco really becomes Darth Trauco on Twitter.
That's where he hears the
Yeah.
But overall, going forward, I mean, what do you think about? I mean, we can talk about the fan base and the toxicity, but more importantly, how have we improved, and how can we keep making it better? And for this one, I'm gonna go up to Cal first.
Well, I think for me, it is something that growing up with watching the prequels in theaters, having to deal with that hate for so long and kind of seeing it happen again, I feel like it unfortunately is an inevitability that will just happen. People don't know how to handle their own dislike or their own expectations not being met. But I think there has been a very large uprise of people being gateways more than gatekeepers. And that just excites me. I think that's what we just need to focus on is whenever anybody has any form of interest in it, right? Just be excited with them, show them like what you enjoy from it. Like I am a huge Old Republic fan, so I know there's unfortunately a lot of people that kind of weaponize Revan against people. But for me, if I'm like, oh yeah, like you don't know anything about the Old Republic, do you want to talk about it? You want to see some cool stuff? Because I got some cool stuff. But like, just bring them into it, right? Like, there's no such thing for me as like like the concept of a new fan being bad. It just doesn't exist. More fans just means more content for everybody, and it just keeps growing. So I think as long as people just kind of remember that, like, you're a human being, the other person's a human being. You guys, might have different taste, and that's okay. But the bigger Star Wars gets, the more everybody's going to be happy. So for me, that's the thing I kind of focus on and try and spread to other people as well. So
Yeah, I mean, to continue with the food analogy, it's like someone's like, "Oh, I've never had that before," and you're like, "Oh, you haven't had this before? Get out!"
you're not a fan
Like,
of food.
oh, you're like, "No,
It's like
you want to
the
try some?
But I want to eat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
like the
Let's go
it's like
get
the it's like the pineapple on pizza thing.
I love pineapple.
Yeah, it's hip to hate
So do
pineapple on pizza, and it's hip to hate the sequels, so people just do it. But for me,
I agree with that. You're
it's
100% correct.
yeah, it's the thing to do, and there's some people that just don't put any mental energy into it, and just kind of regurgitate things that they've heard. But yeah, it's just that, like, if somebody hasn't had, your favorite food, show them where to get the best of it and why you like it. Don't just be like, oh well, screw you, like you hate food. It's like, no, just be nice. It's not that hard.
Absolutely.
How about you, Gray? How do you feel about how we can do better and how things are going? I mean, are we making progress?
Yeah, so I had pretty much given up on talking to people about Star Wars. It was Star Wars I just enjoyed by myself pretty much. I got tired of all the negativity and people just saying, "Oh, you like that? Oh, why do you like?" Just basically just being rude to me for being positive on Star Wars. And then you invited me, Darth Chaco, to meet Element 7 and your guys' group of Star Wars fans. And honestly, it has totally revivified my delight in Star Wars, me wanting to talk to people about Star Wars, finding people who don't, when I say, "Oh, I absolutely love Clone Wars more than anything," and they're like, "Oh, well, more than and it's like, well, yeah, more than the original Star Wars, I do. And then nobody goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that." They go, "Oh, well," somebody goes, "Well, that's not my favorite," or "Yes, that is my favorite." And it's just been very warming, open-hearted, people. I have a new found love, not of Star Wars because that hasn't changed, but being able to have a fandom and people who I can talk to, and I'll just randomly message you guys and be like, "Well, what about this?" And people just, oh, everybody answers and nobody looks down on you for anything you like. It's been very nice. And I think the positivity you guys have brought to the Star Wars internet is wonderful. And I'm honored to be invited to talk to you guys and to be in this group of people.
Yeah, thank you, thank you for being part of it. For one, um, and yeah, I just like the whole thing started because I wanted other people to read books, Star Wars books with me. that's where that's where I'll start. Also, I mean, I did have ulterior motives because, like, if you read canon books, you really can't be toxic. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put an effort to do it. But um, no, I appreciate the compliment, but it's the community. The community was needing something,
And I don't even have any negative comments on TikTok. When I post videos, everything's positive. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, I like this too," or "Can you expand on your thoughts on that?" Or just I have had no negative interactions through this group of fandom.
That's awesome.
And I'm 41 and I've loved Star Wars for a long time and I've been alone in it for a long time. I
Not
have a
Well,
couple
anymore.
friends who like some pieces of it,
Mhm.
but not in a whole.
just remember, you are not alone. All right. Luke, how about you? What would you what would you what's getting better? And yeah, go for it.
So, not everything's perfect. Not everybody's going to agree on things. It's just being able to, like I said earlier, agree to disagree. And mm, eh, what the one thing I will say is that people just, like Alfred says in The Dark Knight, some people just like to watch the world burn. And that's true in everything in life, it seems. And from my experience, there's only been a hand, like maybe I could only count on one hand where I've ever really had. I've honestly haven't had to run into a true troll yet, which is interesting because I thought it would have happened by now. But
Mhm.
I mean, most of these people that come out of the woodwork, a like Chaco said, there's material. Like if you complain about the plot holes of the sequels, there's other material that expands and explains on that. Like how does Palpatine come back? They just explained it in a whole blog. It's like I feel like some of these people just sit behind their keyboard and they just want to be just like every other troll, and they don't want to take the time and look at the sources, you know? So the community has done really well as of late. And I mean, Chaco and Element, you guys are the light, you are the rod that the lightning hit to start the positivity, because there have been some creators that haven't really embraced a whole lot of positivity, and you guys have. And I just have to tip my cap off to you guys, because I mean, there's things that you don't like, but you're not gonna die on that hill and disagree and just cause anarchy. You're willing to have a civil conversation, and just at the end of it, if you can't find anything to agree on, don't bring it up.
You didn't
Um,
change to get views like a lot of channels did. They started out
Absolutely.
positive, like Theory started out positive, and then when he went negative, his channel even exploded more, and now he stays negative. He is no longer a positive Star Wars source of material. And you guys never did that, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And particularly the community that we're all in, it's a very close knit of community. So it's like whenever there is somebody in a comment section, it's kind of, we don't try to like gang up, but like we're there for each other. You know what I mean? It's like a family. Like we are all to take the elements from the High Republic, the light and life. Isn't that what it
Yeah.
is?
For Light and Life, yes.
Yes, that's the motto, I'd say, for this Star Wars community, and how we've done mostly for the positive side. TikTok's just been positive from what everything that I've seen,
Me too.
and YouTube, we're starting to get there, and you guys are
Baby
a big
steps.
part of it. So
I'm just happy I don't have to deal with it because it was rough. It was rough at the start.
mhm, yeah,
um, but awesome. No, I love hearing that. There is a change because you never know from the outside perspectives how much things have changed, or if it's just moved to a different pocket, or whatever. It's going to be some type of it's some type of backdraft, or whatever. But I know we still have fun and just enjoy talking about Star Wars. That's the whole goal.
yeah.
How about you, Pep?
Uh, well, of course, the community has improved. If we think about where we started, where I started personally, was telling negative Nancy's to F off in my first video. And then I met my dyad, the person that I didn't even know lived in the same city that I lived in. And we had similar tastes and we were thinking the same sentences at the same time. This podcast, everyone's podcast that exists, Conspiracy Cantina, All New Nerds, Star Wars, who is on hiatus, that is trying to rebrand, Too Black, Too Nerdy, They Fly Now. All of these podcasts and all of these creators that are creating in the midst of all of the hate is proof that it has improved, and everyone is doing their part. Everyone is carrying the workload of sharing in the positivity. And while I appreciate your sentiment, Luke, I never embraced positivity. I was positive. And if you are a positive person, it's not through the sheer act of embracing it, it's just being yourself. And I say that, and it's important for me to say that because I know there are some creators out there who are in that negative echo chamber, who are starting to take a toll on them personally, who have echoed to me that they're getting tired of putting up this facade. And it's true to some extent that some of these people are putting up a facade because lucratively and financially and fiscally it makes sense, right? You can monetize hatred, and that's the hill that we are climbing right now, is trying to spread positivity, trying to create a community where people can love Star Wars, and it's a battle that everyone has to take on their own, and as well as together with the community. And that's why there are more of us. It makes more sense now more than ever, because if we want to be we as a community need to be the change that we want to see, right? And so instead of having these 4 or 5 negative channels that are up there, we need to have 35 channels for people to open up YouTube, open up TikTok, and when they search Star Wars, there's 35 channels of positive creators who are consuming Star Wars and celebrating Star Wars while still being critical about it and not having to resort to superlatives like this is trash, this is the worst thing, or whatever. These are people who are just watching Star Wars. And if they don't like a certain part, they'll say, I don't like a certain part, but they'll enjoy the parts. Just like in your video series, Chaco, where you said, name one thing you liked about the movie that you hated or something, I believe. And, it's interesting to see people come to terms with that. It's like, what is your least favorite movie? I don't have dislikes. I just have least favorites. Right, so A New Hope is low on my list, and a lot of people say, why don't you like A New Hope? I'm like, it's not me not liking A New Hope, this is just my least favorite. Mm-hmm. So if you can come to terms or reconcile with the fact that you didn't like that movie, but you can point to a moment of it that you actually liked, then you can better equip yourself to be critical. Because at the end of the day, being negative, being superlative, being just outright hateful makes it harder for us to be critical, right? It's mm-hmm. drowning out the voices of people who are actually critical about Star Wars. And so when actual Star Wars execs or people go to watch videos and reviews of their shows and all they see is just this huge noise that has no substance, then it makes it harder for us who have actual critiques to be heard. And they might not even listen to us because they might even think that we blend in with the crowd. So that's why we are who we are. We are the Star Wars community that loves Star Wars, and it's for everybody. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's what it's about. And so when it comes to, like you said, positivity, like this is me, the person that you're seeing talk the way I talk. Um, to anyone who has been in a VC with me, I'm the same person. I'm the same person when it's, me and my wife. I'm the same person at work, because it's too hard to try and be multiple people, and I don't know. I just don't understand the
You're
concept
a
of.
little bit more promiscuous in VC.
Uh,
That's like
maybe
an
maybe
OnlyFans area.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Things can get more saucy, um, and also sometimes I put together really odd Photoshop edits. Um,
Oh yes, yes, that does happen, and
um,
it's hilarious.
I made one with the Grinch's face on Kylo Ren's body, and it's horrific. It was for someone, but
You should address
no,
Darth Revan in the chat.
uh, sure. Darth Revan in chat says people need to be able to express themselves. Though, if I say something is trash, that's my opinion. Um, yeah, you can absolutely express yourself. No one is saying you can't be true to yourself. You can't express yourself. You can't um, speak your mind. Uh, there are times, actually, I'll leave it up though. There are times where people will express their opinion as if it's a fact, and that's one of the things that are an issue. And like toxicity isn't, it rarely has to do with your opinion itself. It mostly has to do with how and when you choose to express it. So I'll see a video where teenage girl is cosplaying Ray. That's not the time to express all how much you hate the character, right? Because that's not the goal of that video. Or there could be, I mean, are you looking for opportunities to remove someone's joy? Um, that can be problematic. Saying something is trash, while that may be your opinion, even that phrase is, it's set up in a way that it's being expressed as if it is a fact. If you said to me that's trash, that instantly alleviates it, right? Because it's leaving room for other people to have an opinion, and that their opinion is equally as valid as yours.
I'd like to expand on something. What I was specifically meaning with theory, I think I rubbed a couple people wrong, is when you can say something's trash, that isn't exact. I mean, but when somebody says, "Oh, I like that," and you say, "Well, how come you don't see that it's trash?" That's when it becomes toxic. And those are what he says. He's like, "I don't see how you don't understand that it's trash. Everyone who likes Star Wars should see that the sequels trilogy is trash." That's when it becomes toxic.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
just the simple act of just taking someone else's joy away is toxic, right? You can say something is trash. Like you can come comment on my videos and say this is trash, and you'll know the first comment I'll say is how, because I'm going to ask you to expand on your opinion. I'm not denying your opinion, but I need you to expand on it so that I know that you've thought this out. Because 9 times out of 10, lots of people haven't thought it out, and they're like, bad writing. It's like, what's bad writing? Ray, like, okay,
What specifically?
that's my response. It's not that, oh, you're toxic, go away. I'm gonna challenge you to expand on your thoughts, because if you've gotten your opinion from a YouTube video that have said all of these things, and granted, we're all like kind of like, I can speak for Chaco and myself, not for everyone else, but we have gotten these comments thousands of times over. So it's not like it is without reason that we say, did you get your opinion from a YouTube video? Because they're all the same. And if you've gotten these comments over 1,000 times before, then you know then that it has to be from somewhere. There has to be a source of it. So if you come to my videos and you comment, I really didn't like the way Ray did this or that, I'm not gonna say anything. But if you said Rey is poorly written, I'm gonna be like, all right, well, what is it about her that's poorly written? You know, so it's not the idea of expressing yourself or expressing an opinion. It's making sure that that opinion is justified based in canon fact and not misinformation, and that you're not expressing it when it's unsolicited. Just like Chaco's, Chaco's example. If someone is like doing a video that they love Rey or they love this or that, let them love it. You really don't have to comment about how you hate it. You really don't.
Can you just imagine the Rey at Galaxy's Edge, and just like the mixed emotions of people coming up and saying, "I don't like you." Like,
It's sad. I cosplay
Yeah.
Rey. Rey Leia Padme outfit, and so I don't like it.
and like,
have a
like-
little girl walk up and like, oh my goodness, like you are who I want to be, and then the next thing you get a
45-year-old man that goes, "You're the worst character ever." Like the highest of highs and lowest of lows. I tell you what,
Yes.
Yeah.
you can't
Just
win.
the emotional whiplash of being in that role, I swear.
Oh my goodness.
Same with the Kylo Ren role. I
Yeah.
thought he was great, but that guy gets so much hate.
He does.
I think the biggest thing for me is it does just come down to reading the room, right? Like, there's a time and a place, but also if you're a content creator, you're in the realm of presentation. Like, that is the whole concept of why you create content, is to be seen and to have a message. And if you want to promote a fandom and you want to help expand it and make it a better place, you owe it to your fans and to the community to choose those words properly, to use the words that help facilitate the community. And you can totally dislike something, but choosing to say, oh yeah, that wasn't for me, I didn't really like those, is totally different from being like, it's trash. Anybody who likes it's trash. I don't know how you can I don't know how you could like that. It's trash. That puts people down, because Star Wars is insanely huge. It's insanely complex. There are going to be things that don't affect you or hit you in that same way. But to other people, there's a reason why there's some people that saw the original trilogy and were like, oh yeah, I get it. It's a war in the stars. Cool. But then when, The Mandalorian was on Disney Plus and they watched that, like, holy cow, it's like a space Western. Like, this is amazing. Or with the sequels, right? Like that brought in a colossal amount of fans that we just didn't have. And so to immediately try and say something is trash when, like, financially that's not true.
Yep.
And like, Star Wars has never been as big as it is without that. It seems disingenuous to me. It seems like you're trying to be negative, or you're trying to be hurtful, or you're trying to take someone's fun away by being like, oh, your fun's wrong. It's like, no, let them have fun. You don't need to acknowledge that. Like, it's good.
It's
Let
because
it be.
you get discourse with negativity, more people jumping onto negativity, more views, more comments, and so
Misery
people,
loves company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it becomes a feeding frenzy for toxic people when that's not the time or the place for it. And
it's sad. It is sad. There is a way that I do censor myself, that I have to censor myself, and that's, I really enjoy Star Wars Legends. I don't talk about it as much as I would, because sometimes it attracts those people who aren't willing to take in new stuff and to enjoy new stuff. But again, expressing your opinion, thinking something is bad or whatever, that's not toxic. We want to be critical of our media because that's how it gets better. But it needs to be constructive criticism. Otherwise, it's not going to get better if the criticism is not constructive. All right, quick lightning round for everyone. And that same goes for everyone in the chat. And so we're going to do this round before we kind of wrap up here. But I don't know if you guys are watching Marvel's What If. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot last night. Super cool. So here's the thing. They bring What If to Star Wars, and you get to choose one of the episodes. What if scenario are you going to create for us? And then go ahead and end if you have any final thoughts on what we've talked about and where we can find all of y'all and your amazing content. Um, for this one, I am going to go to Cal first.
Okay. I'm Cal4 on pretty much everything. Soon to be Twitch, hopefully, as well as TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. As far as the what if episode I would like to see, I would really love to see a what if Luke fell to the dark side and Leia was trained by Yoda. I think that would be amazing because it's almost like the Visions snippet for the twins, but it would be what characters we're familiar with and in a time period that a lot of people like. So I just think that would be something that'd be a fun twist to see personally.
Awesome. I love it. And where can we find you or when you start streaming?
I mean, it'd just be, I think, just twitch.tv/Cal4. Not
Awesome.
entirely sure, but that is what my username is there. So
Oh, beautiful. And also, and again, this goes out to the chat too, so you guys can put out your scenarios. I'll get all of your scenarios before we wrap it up with Element. But Gray, what is your what if scenario?
Okay. So my what if scenario is if Anakin did not kill Padme and she got to raise her twins. I
That's
think that'd be a
interesting.
wonderful story.
Yeah, originally in the prequels, Padme was supposed to have the kids and raise them for like 6 months before she died. That was George Lucas's original vision, and so like I'm always
I love
curious about
Padme.
that.
I love Padme. I think she's such a wonderful character. Great. She's greatly expanded upon. She's just amazing. Wonderful like Leia. I'm a big, anyway. And I'm Gray, Donna the Gray on TikTok. I will eventually this fall be starting a YouTube channel called Rare Loot, and I have some collaborations in the works with some local friends here, and we'll be putting some stuff out soon.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm
More
excited.
posi-
I'm excited to see more of that. Yeah.
More positivity in the world. Yes, I'm here for it.
And how about you, Luke?
You guys can follow me on TikTok at the Padawans Podcast, here on YouTube, where we are doing a rewatch of all the Clone Wars. Hopefully by next month we will have Darth Chaco on for a arc Element, possibly. Cal, Gray, if you guys want to come on, more than
I would love
welcome.
to.
So we've got that going on. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, everything. My what if, man, there's a couple of scenarios, but I think the one, it's gonna go hand in hand with Gray's. Anakin doesn't turn to the dark side and he raises Luke and Leia. We talked about on the They Fly Now, and Miss Eggy brought up how Anakin would have been a great dad if he wouldn't have turned to the dark side. And I feel like seeing him really embrace Luke and Leia and get to know Leia, because he really doesn't get that connection in canon anyways, from what we understand. But I would love to see that. That would be my what if.
Awesome. Oh no, I like that. Because there's so, I mean, obviously there's so much that would change. Let's get some of the people in the chat. All right, we have Lewis. What if Mace Windu and Grievous are forced to work together on a stranded planet between 2 and 3? I would like to see that. Yeah. Interesting.
Zeb, Callus,
Zeb, Diamond Emic.
Yeah, but with lightsabers. So I'm here for it.
Levi Bond said a great one.
We got Jedi Leia, Jedi Leia, Jedi Leia, Jedi Leia.
Couldn't agree more, Brooke.
Yeah, I also like Darth Revan's there as well. I commented on that one too. What if Leia was sent to Tatooine instead of Luke, and trained as a Jedi that way? Like, I feel like her attitude and ambition would have served her so well on a backwater planet too.
Sure.
Like, ooh.
Levi said, "What if Ahsoka didn't leave Anakin?"
Oh, that's another good.
She would have
one.
died.
Yep, that'd
Yeah,
be
probably.
crazy.
And it would have been even tougher. But think about that. She's trying to defend the Jedi, and she tries to help Anakin, and Anakin turns regardless and takes her out, and then gets taken out by Kenobi. Like that's heartbreaking.
Or what if Anakin saved his mom? Went back and
Oh.
saved his mom.
What
Oh,
if
yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi finished the job?
Oh,
Oh! That's,
Ooh.
Hell,
that's a
from
good
the top
one.
rope.
Ooh.
What if Qui-Gon was alive? Well, we got a little bit of Dave Filoni talking about that. One of my favorite ones is what if Boba Fett got married to Brooke?
To me.
He'd live a happy life,
Yeah,
making his way through the galaxy.
at the Polynesian spa.
Yes.
Of course, like you said, from Levi Bond, if Ahsoka was able to reach Anakin before his fall, if she would have been capable of helping him to turn him back, because we know she couldn't turn him back once he was Vader, but yeah.
I worded that wrong. Sorry, Levi.
Let's see
No.
here.
I think Revenge of the Sith is kind of like, it kind of cements the fact that if Padme can't prevent it, Ahsoka isn't going to, because he's doing it all for Padme.
This is true.
Yeah, that is true. They Fly Now shout out Harris Productions in the chat. They Fly Now podcast on Mondays.
My guy.
Yeah, so check them
They do
out.
fly
Another.
now.
I almost when coming with the podcast, I almost went with a sequel quote for the name. I was gonna call it "Garbage Will Do."
Oh my God.
I like that.
I need to
like
make
that.
that my like Twitch slogan.
That's an odd concession to
garbage
make,
will do.
Choco.
That's amazing.
That would have been good.
What if Anakin went to Mandalore?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Obi-Wan would be dead, but yeah. What if the Separatists were never controlled by the Sith? What's interesting, and of course this is not canon, but in the Darth Bane book, one of the things that Bane and the Sith would do is whenever they saw a faction that looked like they could become powerful enough to actually become a player in the galaxy, they would infiltrate them and force them to make their move before they were ready. Why? Because they don't want to fight two enemies. They want to drag them down. So I'm curious about the Separatist Alliance and how much of that was directly done by Palpatine, or how much of that was already boiling under the surface, and they lit that powder keg in a manner that they could control the fallout. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Palpatine killed everybody he thought would be too powerful. Like when he ordered Asajj to be killed by Dooku, and then he killed Savage and all that. So he doesn't let anybody get powerful.
Papa Palps loves his power. I tell you what, Papa Palps.
You have become a rival.
Yeah.
What if Vader had killed Palpatine and taken over the Empire? So personally, that's what I was hoping we would see in the Rise of Skywalker. Essentially, is, I don't know if I've said this 1,000 times, but Kylo Ren basically did what Anakin wanted to do, of like, I can overthrow him, and then we could rule the galaxy. And then Padme's like, are you kidding me? Like, I fought for democracy since before you met me as a child. Like, you think I would go for that? Like, but no, I would love to see, if Vader had killed Palpatine. It's kind of like when you play the Revenge of the Sith game.
I was gonna bring that up. Absolutely.
I commented that actually in there.
Oh, I didn't
The
see
alternate
that.
ending to that.
No, yeah, that alternate ending. Like when I played that as a kid, being like 10 or 11, I was like, "Wow,
Oh no,
I do.
that would be cool." But
I do attribute that scene to so many people that love like fallen Anakin as a concept of like, he's like the true Lord Vader. It's like, all we see of Lord Vader is he kills a bunch of kids, some unarmed separatists that weren't expecting him and thought he was their ally, and then he loses to his older, less skilled master who's like heartbroken and kills his wife. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, he sucks.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After watching Clone Wars, seeing the Revenge of the Sith and the fall of Anakin was heartbreaking, and it makes me cry.
Oh yeah.
Which it didn't before I watched Clone Wars.
Watching the
Yeah.
4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith with the Siege of Mandalore.
I have it downloaded, but I haven't committed to it yet because
I haven't
it's
seen
a
it.
long period of time to block out.
Yeah, that's kind of like us watching Lord of the Rings together. Also, just shout out, much love back, Revan. Yeah, you're always welcome around here. We love positive people, so if you like the positivity, then hang out. You know, we'd love to have you. Said, what if Luke joined Vader in Empire Strikes Back? I'm just picturing like join me, and then he's like, okay.
I
Only if I get a new hand out of this.
Or he's like, no, I am your father. And then Luke was like, really? And then he goes and hugs him.
but my hand stuck.
Daddy.
Daddy!
He just gives him a hug.
Oh, this
And
is
everyone's
tough love that I
confused.
missed. Okay.
What if Maul succeeded in running over Anakin on his bike?
I'm pretty sure Mason Windows made a couple of TikToks on that. Believe it or not.
Amazing.
That's fun.
Of course, we have Aiden talks Star Wars topics. What if Yoda watched over Luke instead of Obi-Wan? I feel like it might be too dry of a climate for Yoda species. I don't know. He
Yeah.
looks moist.
But even better, just bring
Oh.
Luke to Dagobah and just like he's a swamp kid now.
Baby Yoda Grogu did live on Tatooine for a very long time.
Fair.
That's
You know, Yoda's Secret War, when he was on that rock deserty planet, he was doing pretty
that's
well.
true. That is true. Awesome. All right. Last but certainly not least, we have Pep. What is your what if scenario, and where can we find you and your amazing content?
So this is the first thing that I will say because I know it's never going to happen. What if Quinlan Voss picks up Crosshair and we get a buddy cop
Yes.
Quinlan Voss Crosshair arc for him, and that's who changes his mind.
Disney Plus, make it happen. I want this
Exactly.
now.
Oh my heart.
They have to have guitars though. That's the only thing. They gotta have playing guitars.
They have to, and then he's gonna get his very own Crosshair poncho. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
My actual what if is if Yoda stopped Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith. Or if Yoda, knowing that Luke was not yet ready, knocked him out and went to confront Palpatine in Return of the Jedi. What's
Okay.
gonna happen? Can he handle himself? Does he still got it in him?
But he
Ooh.
does die of old age there. So I don't think
I mean, he
In Pep's
does.
what
That's
if
that's
version
that's the
is-
what if.
Yeah.
mid-fight just no.
I feel like he died out of like embarrassment of not wanting to answer the question.
Well, okay,
He's
so
like, is he actually my dad? And he's like,
there
It's time
is
for me to sleep.
there is Force lore precedence behind letting go and accepting your death versus dying of old age. In the Last Jedi novelization, Luke is struggling with how much energy he's used to do that ability, and Obi-Wan's voice talks to him and says, "Let go," and he lets go and he dies. So I think Yoda had at that time accepted it was his time to go, and had just completely accepted becoming one with the Force, and that's why he died. I don't think, for the life of me, I don't think if Yoda had set out to do something, he wouldn't have been able to do it. I think he would have. I think if the burden of sharing in the shame of the downfall of the Jedi Order hadn't been so great, he could convince himself to go and confront Palpatine because that's who he is. I mean, we talk about him dying of old age, but all throughout the prequels, And even in the High Republic, he is limping and staggering with his cane and his walking stick until he needs to get down and dirty. And then when he does,
I don't
it's
wanna
on
think
till the
Yoda
break of
getting
dawn.
down and dirty.
Yeah.
So we got
Or he's making bakery stuff too.
In my mind, I'm just hearing "Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan, of like, let's get down to business, and he's like,
Doing front
Yeah.
flips and doing push-ups.
"Huh."
But that's my what if. You can find me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/element7s. Yes. Next week, next Saturday at 2 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. Eastern, is the Dyad in the Force Trivia Rush. That is the final quiz. And just as a warning for anyone that is qualified, that is a finalist, and is in the chat, you are not ready for this quiz.
You will not know.
No, you will not. You will look at every single question and be like, that's a thing? I didn't know. Of course, we're not doing this to be like really, really bad. We're just doing this because we want to level the playing field. Some people know a little bit more about some movies and stuff like that, so we're taking it out of their hands. We're making this quiz all about the esoteric stuff, all of the really, really niche things that even Chaco and I need to look up.
So
Right?
Levi
We
might
wouldn't
not know everything.
No. I mean,
We're gonna
You
give
might
Levi
be
rent
lucky.
for his money.
Let's
you
get
might,
ready to rumble, people.
You might be lucky and have read that sentence that we just saw that we're like, oh, this should be a question. But you know, we're trying to build the quiz around the fact that not even Chaco and I will know that we'll have to go out and look for this information in order to form the questions. So it is all about the guessing game for everyone. And of course, we'll have to be vigilant about keeping the wrong answers in line with making it even more difficult so that we're not like Luke and then Sababa or something like that. And just the quiz is going to be difficult, so that's all I'm going to say. So next week, August 28th. And if you want to tune in this Saturday as well, we'll be having Calfor and Victoria to talk about visions as well in Dyad in the Force. And of course, if you want to tune in to Dyad in the Force, that's your best place to pick up on a lot of this niche stuff, because we do drop some nuggets of information that may or may not be a question. So there you go with that. youtube.com/element7s is where you can find that. Saturday, August 28th. And of course, this Saturday, Dyad is live every Saturday. So that's where. Also TikTok at _element7_ and on here.
Awesome. Beautiful. And then, I mean, I guess I'll go last with my scenario, mostly because I try to back cleanup, which means people often take my scenarios and stuff, and I have to find a new one
What if the old Republic
before it's my time.
That one hurt.
No,
Shout out to Quentin's podcast as well, that they just released a Bad Batch episode.
yes, the Kanan Fesk podcast. Yes, so also one of the first people I started talking to and sharing books with before there was before any of this stuff. So awesome dude. I saw a snippet of the first episode, looked like a lot of fun. He had some great guests, so I'm excited to check it out myself. But yeah, if I am doing a what if scenario, I mean, the first one that came to mind was in the very similar vein as Element 7, which is par for the course for the Dyad. But it was if Mace Windu had beat Palpatine. And my, brain as a poor writer, it makes me wonder if, let's say, Mace Windu had defeated Palpatine. And so now Anakin feels like his only way to save Padme is lost, and she has an impending death that he feels certain of. Now, we know that he's the one that causes her death in the end, but what if he still thinks it's coming? Would he give up on a search? Would he end up going through Palpatine's stuff and finding Sith artifacts and still falling to the dark side? Would he, be waiting for this thing that's never going to happen? I know. I just feel like if he stopped him right there, then that would be prior to turning into Darth Vader. That'd be taking out Palpatine, but it still leaves so much. What if he still falls to the dark side and then becomes his own Sith that plots in secret to overthrow the Republic in another 1,000 years? Well, that's possibilities, but yeah, that's one of the ones that I thought of and would like to see. Anyways, thank all of you guys for joining me for talking about the state of Star Wars. Again, I do this because I like to talk to people about Star Wars, and you guys will all be guests again. Again, like Pep said, please join us on Saturday on Dyad and the Force on Element 7's YouTube channel. We always have a lot of fun just hanging out with the chat. Plus, we have the Trivia Rush that's coming up. Thank you guys so much. I'll give you back the rest of your Wednesday evening, and for everyone here, may the Force be with you always.